The iconic Amar Jawan Jyoti, which was inaugurated after the 1971 Liberation War of Bangladesh by former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, was removed on Friday, even as Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the construction of a statue of Subhash Chandra Bose, restructuring symbolism around the India Gate. In the face of protests from the Congress and several veterans, the center said the Jyoti was not extinguished and only merged with the flame at the National War Memorial (NWM). Mr. Modi said that after independence, new things were constructed only for a few families, but now monuments of national importance were being built. At a ceremony presided over by Air Marshal B.R. Krishna, Chief of Integrated Defence Staff, a torch with the flame at the Jyoti was carried with full military honors and merged with NWM flame. The NWM, inaugurated in February 2019, is located at the Sea Hexagon near the India Gate and was built in memory of soldiers who laid down their lives for the country in the post-independence period. Names of over 26,000 soldiers are inscribed on it. In a change of tradition, before the commencement of Republic Day parade in 2020, Mr. Modi paid homage to fallen soldiers by laying a wreath at the NWM instead of the Jyoti. Since the inauguration of NWM, all homage ceremonies are being conducted only there. However, defense officials had stated that the Jyoti would be kept burning and used for ceremonial occasions and official visits. Downplaying the controversy that emerged on the issue, a government source said it was odd to see that Jyoti paid homage to martyrs of 1971 and other wars, but none of their names were present. The names of all Indian Army martyrs from all the wars, including those in 1971 and others before and after it, are at the NWM. Hence, it is a true Shraddhanjali to have the flame paying tribute to martyrs there, the source said. Importers government duel in Supreme Court over GST on ocean freight. The government is engaged in a pitched legal battle in the Supreme Court against the importers over its decision to levy integrated goods and service tax, that is IGST, on ocean freight on a reverse charge basis, with tax authorities reportedly raising fresh queries even while the dispute is pending before a bench led by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. Importers are miffed. A hearing set for January 11 was postponed after the two judges on the bench took ill. At the center of the spat are two notifications issued on June 28, 2017, levying IGST on ocean freight. The Gujarat High Court, which had in January 2020 declared the levy ultra vires to the IGST Act, concluded that IGST on ocean freight under the provisions of notification was not permissible in law. Ocean freight is the cost. What is ocean freight? Ocean freight is the cost of moving goods internationally over the sea to India. An agreement is entered into between the two foreign parties, usually between an exporter and a shipping line to transport goods to India. In its appeal, the government, represented by Additional Solicitor General N. Venkatraman, has argued that the ultimate beneficiary of the transaction is, however, the recipient of goods in India, who is importing the goods on a cost, insurance and freight basis (CIF) basis. The government contends that companies importing goods on CIF basis are paying the freight directly or indirectly. Transport of goods which is carried out by a person other than the importer himself is an activity which given rise to aspect of providing transportation and as such gives rise to taxing incident distinct from the tax on import of goods. The government says the eventual recipient and beneficiary of the transportation service is the importer of the goods. Being taxed twice, importers represented by Advocate Malak Manish Bhatt have countered that for the purpose of taxability, the service has to be rendered in India to be provided to an Indian. The service rendered by a non-Indian to a non-Indian cannot be taxed merely due to the fact that ultimate benefit was reaped by an Indian as the goods had arrived in India. The importers have complained that IGST was being levied on them twice on the very same transaction by segregating portions of it. Importers, in addition to custom duty, also pay IGST under IGST Act on the imported goods on the value as determined under the Customs Tariff Act. This value includes the value of ocean freight, they argue. US and Russia seek to ease the Ukraine tensions. Washington and Moscow's top diplomats agreed on Friday to keep working to ease tensions over Ukraine, with the US promising a written response to Russian security demands and not ruling out a presidential meeting. As fears grow that Russia could invade its pro-Western neighbor, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken renewed the warnings of several Western reprisals as he met for 90 minutes with the Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Geneva. But Mr. Blinken described the high-stakes talks as a frank and not polemical, with Mr. Lavrov also voicing hope for a lowering of the temperature between the former Cold War foes. Russia has massed tens of thousands of troops on Ukrainian border, denying it plans to invade but demanding security guarantees, including a permanent ban on the country joining the NATO. Mr. Blinken said that Washington will share written ideas with Russia next week, in which it will also make clear its own position. We didn't expect any major breakthroughs to happen today, but I believe we are now on a clear path in terms of understanding each other's concern, Mr. Blinken told reporters. We anticipate that we will be able to share with Russia our concern and ideas in more detail in writing next week, and we agree to further discussions after that, he added. Speaking separately to reporters, Mr. Lavrov also said he was promised the written responses next week. Antony Blinken agreed that we need to have a reasonable dialogue and I hope emotions will decrease. He said, I cannot say whether or not we are on the right track. We will know when we get an answer. He added that another meeting could be held between the two, but that it was premature to start talking about another summit between the presidents Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, who met in Geneva last June. Mr. Blinken, however, did not rule out fresh talks between the presidents after Mr. Biden twice warned Mr. Putin by telephone of consequences for any Ukraine invasion. If we conclude and the Russians conclude that the best way to resolve things is through a further conversation between them, we are certainly prepared to do that, Mr. Blinken said. Mr. Biden bluntly assessed on Wednesday that Mr. Putin is likely to move in on Ukraine and warned of a disaster for Russia. Stop the import of Iranian apples, dealers to ministry. A joint forum of apple dealers from Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand chapters has written a letter to Ministry of Agriculture to stop the illegal sale of Iranian apples, which is posing quarantine pest threat to local apple producing regions of the country. We demand an immediate ban should be imposed on the import of apples from Iran and the duty for other imported apples to be raised to 100% with a minimum billing of $1 per kg for calculation of duty to avoid dumping of produce in our country, read the joint letter submitted to Union Minister of Agriculture and Farm Welfare Narendra Singh Tomar. The joint letter has been forwarded by the Hill State Horticultural Forum with its Kashmir chapter headed by Mazid Aslam Wafai, the Himachal chapter by Harish Chauhan and Uttarakhand chapter by Praveen Kumar. The letter said if the action was not initiated, it would affect the income of farmers, the fresh fruit sector and the future export potential of these fruits from our country. Take this communication as an SOS message from the farmers, the letter said. According to apple dealers of these three regions, fresh fruit traders have started to import Iran's fresh apples unlike last year and have started to dump them in Indian market at unexpected prices. They are adopting a different strategy by heavily under-invoicing the bills, thereby reducing the impact of import duty. This, according to dealers, in spite of Iranian apples posing a great threat to our country's apple after quarantine pest Aspidiatus neri detected from kiwi consignment from Iran in December last year. Quarantine pest Aspidiatus neri. According to this letter, the experts at Sher-e-Kashmir Agriculture University and Science Technology (SKUAST) Srinagar have made it clear that if such pests enter the territory of any apple producing state, it would be a catastrophe. Pushback to change in IS cadre rules. Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel and Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot on Friday wrote to Prime Minister Narendra Modi opposing the proposed amendments to Indian Administrative Service Cadre Rules 1954. The proposed amendments will give overriding powers to Union Government to post all India Service officers such as the IAS, the Indian Police Service and Indian Forest Service IFOS to central ministries and departments without the state government's nod. Mr. Baghel and Mr. Gehlot are second in line after West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to convey their opposition against the proposed amendment to Mr. Modi. Sense of instability. Mr. Baghel said the amendments could be misused and a sense of instability and ambiguity is likely to arise among the officers of all India services who are posted at various important posts in various districts and also at the state level. He said the proposed amendment granted the central government the right to appoint AIS officers unilaterally without the consent of state government or concerned authorities, which is adopted and outlined in the constitution and contrary to the sentiment. Mr. Baghel claimed that AIS officers are posted in various states and are posted on deputation in central government. The deputation has been done after the consent of the state government. The state government has been conquering in central deputation by taking decision as per its administrative requirement. There will be confusion in discharge of official responsibilities by them, and due to political interference, it will not be possible to work impartially, especially at the time of elections, due to which the administrative system in the states can crumble and a situation of instability can be created, he said. Spirit of federalism. Mr. Gehlot also tweeted on Friday that he had urged the Prime Minister to intervene and put an end to the blow the proposed amendments would cause to the autonomy of the Constitution, so that the spirit of federalism developed by framers of Constitution is intact. UNESCO tag sought for the root bridges. The Geological Survey of India has underlined some green rules for the living root bridges of Meghalaya to get the UNESCO World Heritage Site tag. CM Conrad K. Sangma pitched for the UNESCO recognition as the hill state marked its 50th year of creation. A living root bridge is like a suspension bridge formed by guiding the pliable roots of rubber fig tree, Ficus elastica, across a stream or river and allowing the roots to grow and strengthen over time. JDSI Director Dhriti Banerjee said faunal diversity and preparation of health cards would be the prerequisite to earn the tag. All set for tiger count at Bandipur and Nagarhole. Tiger census will commence at Bandipur on Saturday and at Nagarhole on Sunday as a part of All India Tiger and Mega Herbivore Estimation. This is part of nationwide enumeration that is held once in 4 years and is fifth such exercise being taken up. Earlier ones being held in 2006, 2010 and 2014 and 2018. The authorities at Bandipur have divided the 912.04 square kilometer national park into 3 blocks to carry out enumeration. While the enumeration exercise will be held in block 1 from January 22 to 27, it will be held in block 2 from January 28 to February 2, and tiger count exercise in block 3 will take from February 3 to February 8. This year enumeration exercise entails the use of MS stripes, that is monitoring systems for tiger intensive protection and ecological status. M stripes, monitoring system for tiger intensive protection and ecological status, app. And apart from the tiger counts, the exercise will also throw up data on mega herbivores including elephants and gaurs. The use of apps ensure that the data is not only digitalized but is uploaded on a real-time basis and is robust. The training was imparted by experts from Wildlife Institute of India, and enumeration is being held as per the protocols stipulated by National Tiger Conservation Authority. The authorities have deployed only the departmental officials and frontline field staff apart from members of Special Tiger Force Squad for the exercise. While nearly 300 people will be on duty at Bandipur, around 350 will take part in exercise at Nagarhole. The enumeration in Nagarhole will be held from January 23 to February 1. Sign survey will be held in all the 91 beats and line transect will be conducted in 2 phases, according to Nagarhole Tiger Reserve Director Mahesh Kumar. He said they would do the sign survey including tiger scat, pug marks, tiger's cat, pug marks, etc. for carnivores. The enumeration would also throw up data and of the tiger numbers in the non-protected areas. In view of census, the safari has been affected, including cancellation of few trips at Nagarhole. In 2018 census, there were 125 tigers in Nagarhole, whereas there were 72 tigers in the 2014 exercise, which was a big jump. But experts believe that tiger numbers of both Bandipur and Nagarhole may have reached their optimum levels and could have stabilized or shown a marginal increase this year.